Davu, the piatico boss of a villain, delivering a monologue.
Instead, he sounded like a librarian, measured and precise and faintly tired.
I have followed your journey, all 10 years of it. I went. You are the most interesting group to attempt this in several centuries.
He tilted his head.
And you brought a guest.
His gold eyes found Log Princess, and she felt her bones vibrate.
You do not belong to any time.
He said.
Interesting.
Himo stepped forward, his sword drawn, but held at his side, not threatening, just pleasant the way a diplomat might carry credentials.
We are here to end the war.
Ooh. He said. The Demon King regarded him with an expression that might have been respect or might have been the patient attention of a cat watching something move.
An oath.
He said.
You have been walking toward this room since you were 17 years old. I have watched you grow from a boy with a borrowed sword to a man who carries the hope of nations on his shoulders without bending. It has been remarkable.
He paused.
I will miss observing you.
That is nice surrender.
Frierin said from behind Himo's shoulder, her voice flat and precise.
The Demon King looked at her, and something shifted in his expression. The recognition deepened, became personal.
Frierin. Andame.
He said. Her name like he was reading a title from an ancient book.
You and I are the only ones in this room who understand what time really means. How many of these hopeful heroes have you watched age? And how many times have you told yourself the next one will be different?
Freyin's jaw tightened, but she said nothing.
I have been alive for 1,200 years. You have been alive for longer. And yet you stand behind a mortal man. Why?
Because she asked me to...
Freya said, and the simplicity of the answer landed in the room like a drift stone into still water.
The Demon King was quiet for 3 heartbeats.
Then he said,
Fascinating.
Mistook from his throne.
the movement was not aggressive. It was the slow, careful rising of someone who had been seated for a very long time. His full height was not monstrous, perhaps 7 feet, but the weight of his presence made the room contract around him.
I would not fight you.
He said.
Not yet. First, I want you to understand what it is you are destroying. Will you let me show you?
Himo looked at Freya.
Buyaren looked at Aizen. Aizen looked at nobody because he was already watching the Demon King with the focused attention of a dwarf, measuring a threat's exact dimensions. Haida said Kaiki.
Knowledge is not a weapon, unless you let it be.
Himo sheathed his sword.
Shues.
The Demon King raised one hand, and the walls of the throne room dissolved. Not crumpled, not shattered. They simply opened like pages of a book, revealing rooms beyond rooms, spaces that had been hidden in behind the obsidian. And what they showed was not an army or a weapon or a pit of tormented souls. It was a city, an entire functioning city felt inside the shadow of the castle.
Streets radiated from the throne room in concentric rings lit by the same warm crystals as the garden. And on those streets, demons lived, not the snarling, corrupted creatures the party had fought for
10 years?
But demons in their natural state, looking through marketplaces, reading in libraries, teaching children in what appeared to be schools. The Demon King's domain was not a mandatory fortress. It was a civilization hidden on the road away from the world.
The demons down here were not soldiers. They were citizens.
You see soldiers when you fight demons on the surface.
The Demon King said.
You see corruption and violence and cruelty. And that is real. I built that army. I armed them. I sent them.
He gestured at the city below.
But this is also real. 300,000 demons live here. They have families and trades and arguments about whose bread recipe is better, and children who are afraid of the dark.
Kilikta Himo.
The question is not whether demons are capable of evil. We obviously are. The question is whether you are willing to destroy the capacity for this, to also destroy the capacity for that.
Nobody spoke.
The city flumed below them with the sounds of life. Voices, industry, a child laughing somewhere in the distance.
Cat Princess stood at the edge of the revealed balcony and looked down at a street where a demon was hanging laundry between two buildings. The sheets were white and fluttering in some underground breeze, and the demon was humming a melody while working. She thought about every demon. She had seen the party fight and tried to reconcile this image with those, the Zomestil and the monstrous, the laundry and the war. Himu stood beside her, and his expression was the hardest she had ever seen. It not angry hard.
The way a decision is hard.
Is this man to make us hesitate?
I sense it.
And his voice was not accusatory.
It was genuine.
The Demon King looked at the dwarf with something approaching respect.
It is meant to give you information.
He says,
What you do with information is your choice. I had killed millions of your people. That is a fact. These people exist. That is also a fact. Both facts are true at the same time.
Aisin processed this with the efficiency of someone who preferred problems with physical solutions, then said,
You can start the war yourself. You couldn't have called back your armies. あれだ。Oketta.
the Demon King said.
Yes.
Aisin said,
Then this is an argument for peace you chose not to make. You chose war and boot the garden. That is net philosophy. That is hypocrisy.
And the room went very quiet.
Haito stepped forward with his staff, not raised in combat, but held across his body like a bridge between them. May I ask a question?
The Demon King inclined his head.
Haita-san, do the citizens know about the Surface Army, about the war, about what you do in our name? The Demon King was silent for 5 seconds.
Some suspect,
He said,
most do not.
Haito nodded slowly. Then you have built a paradise on a foundation of secrets and blood, and you are asking us to admire the architecture while ignoring the foundation.
The Demon King said,
I am asking you to see the full picture.
Haiku-sen!
I see it. And the picture include millions your armies killed to keep the city safe. Their families are loaded too.
The walls crushed again! The city vanished behind Oshigian.
The throne room returned to its Cthulhu silence.
The Demon King settled back onto his throne with the measured movements of someone who had expected every word he had heard and is moving to the next phase of a very old conversation.
You are all very interesting.
He says.
Most parties reach this point, and either attack immediately or surrender to doubt. You have done neither.
He looked at Fryland.
I suspect that is your influence, the elf who has seen enough of time to know that most truths have a second truth hiding behind them. Now I will ask you something.
The Demon King said, and this time his voice carried an edge that had not been there before, not threat urgency.
Why do humans value feeling so highly, when you cannot even prove it exists?
Feelings hand title on her stuff.
I have studied your species for 1,200 years.
既婚じにりって
I had observed every emotion. You perform love, grief, joy, rage. and I can replicate each one flawlessly.
He paused.
Demons do not feel. Remember that. It is our greatest weapon, and your greatest vulnerability. Every demon who ever asked for mercy was performing a script. Every demon who ever asked. Including this conversation.
Freyren said, and her voice was ice. The Demon King tilted his head.
That is the question, is it not? After 1200 years of perfect mimicry, how would I know the difference between feeling something and performing it so well that the performance becomes indistinguishable from the real thing?
He looked at his own hands.
I tend a garden. I read books. I built a city for my people. Are those the actions of someone who feels nothing? Or the actions of someone who has performed feeling for so long that the performance developed its own momentum?
He looked up.
I genuinely do not know. And that uncertainty is the most human thing about me.
The silence that followed was the loudest thing, like Princess had ever heard. It pressed against her ears and filled the space between them like water filling a sinking room. She looked at Freyren and saw the elk's composure crack, just a hairline, barely visible, but there. Because the Demon King had not asked a question about demons. He had asked a question about Freyren, an elf, who lived so long that humans accused her of not feeling, who had watched decades pass like seasons and attended funerals like appointments, who was only now, after 1,000 years, beginning to understand what Grook meant. The Demon King was not attacking you with the question. He was holding up a mirror.
Friends.
Himu said her name like an anchor thrown into deep water, and she caught it.
She bleeped, and the crock sealed, and she was herself again, composure restored by 3 syllables from immortal man who would not live long enough to understand what he had just saved her from.
Freyren looked at the Demon King and said,
What an doesn't it change the body count? 1200 years of mimicking compassion and its chose worth. Ichidu Fu, that must be worse.
The Demon King nodded.
Yes. It would, wasn't it?
La Princess had been quiet through all of this, standing behind the party where she belonged, the audience in a room full of players.
But the Demon King's gold eyes found her again.
And you,
He says,
the one who does not belong to any timeline, who stutters between moments like a song played on a broken instrument. What do you think?
She stared at him.
her mouth opened and no sound came out. Not because of lag, because the actual Demon King was asking her opinion and she had none that felt worthy of the moment. Then she said, I think feeling is a choice.